And we're back here once again with another episode of the Iron Man Podcast, episode 596. This is going to be the second appearance for Cancel This Podcast, actually. The host is Jace Rival, actually.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
Yeah, it's been a while. How you been?
Yeah, I've been hanging in there. You know, another day, another dollar down the drain because we're all broke in this economy. But hey, I can't complain. I'm still alive, I guess. For now, they haven't sent me the gulag yet.
You know what's crazy, man, is that there were some statistics that came out for women and what they generally prefer as to vote for in a candidate. All they care to vote for is whatever policy that the candidates have on abortion. That's crazy. That means did you see that graph where it broke it down? Inflation was toward the bottom.
You know why? I'm gonna be honest with you. You know why that's because a lot of women don't pay for a damn thing. And I know that's gonna sound kind of like misogynistic, but the thing is, a woman, is usually provided for by a man. There's this expectation in relationships that a man is gonna pay your way. So they're not really suffering the inflation consequences the way that we are, because we're expected to be the providers. Even liberal women want a provider. So they don't really think about it in terms like we do. We think about it that, to them, spending as much money as possible. If that $1,000 Gucci purse is now $1,500, that's just something for them to brag about. They don't care about it the way that we do. But, the thing is, we're looking at it more practically. And that's the thing, obviously, female and male brains are different, no matter what anybody says. Men tend to be more practical. Women tend to be more emotional. This has always been the way it's been since the beginning of time. So to them, they just see the abortion thing, and women are also more influenced by peer pressure. So if their friends say something, they believe in something, and it's very, very different, in terms of the battle of the sexes. And I do believe that's why, women have a tendency to be a little bit more liberal than conservative as a rule.
It's because that side of the political aisle just preys on people's weak emotional states. And then women, since they're more geared to being more emotional, they're just going to by default fall into that. And by the time they realize, what they did was wrong or how they thought was wrong, it's too late. Because you factor in when they already voted in Joe Biden, because there are a lot of people after that went, wait a minute, I didn't really see the good that came from that. Too late. It's literally too late. The people that were voted in power that wanted to be there to make things the way they are there now. And now you have to kind of roll the dice to see, if Trump's going to get put in office or Kamala Harris. That's the thing,
Yeah, exactly. And then if she gets put in, it's just no refunds, no exchanges. You're going to be in the exact same situation. So, the way that I look at it, we have a benchmark. We have 4 years or three, because you can't count the COVID year, where things went really well financially under Trump. Whether you like him or you hate him, ultimately the bottom line for me is that he did very, very, very well. And, he did well in terms of the economy. And that's sort of the benchmark. Is there more money in your bank account or is there less money in your bank account? And that's how I look at it. And that's how I have to look at it, because I'm the one paying the bills. I'm the one who I have to pay, for my gas. I have to pay to eat. I have to pay to live. So, to me, it's just an abomination to me that anybody would want to vote for somebody who's already been there for 3.5 years and has done basically jack shit. She has not done anything.
Even at the GOP debates, when we were still having those for presidential candidates, the most brought up thing was the high inflation on food and how much money you're spending at the grocery shop. It's like, guys, if you look at how much money people were spending at the grocery places when Trump was elected, it was way, way more down compared to what it's been now. Actually, they said the rise was in 50, 60 some odd percent. Your whole cart could be basically worth $100 with having only a few items in there, or less than 20 items. That's crazy to think about.
No, it's and the thing is, you can be very practical about it. I can pick up a bunch of the same items I picked up during Trump's presidency that were totaled $15, and now they're totaling $35. Some of those items are 100% inflated. The one that I like to go to that tends to piss people off on X a lot of the time is, or I don't give and this is my always thing, is IBGAF orange juice is $8. And that's the problem. Orange juice is $8. Look, a gallon of orange juice, this used to cost me $3 under Trump.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at literally more than double what it was. And so I don't care what they think about Russia. I don't care what they think about Ukraine. I don't care if they're mad at me for not watching a crappy show like The Acolyte. They can kick rocks as far as I'm concerned, because they're not paying my bills. Like y'all don't pay my bills. So don't try to come at me saying I gotta vote. I'm obligated to vote for a cackling harpy who's never done anything for me a day in her life. Last week on my show, I was talking about, they put a sign for her in my neighborhood. They didn't put it on anybody's property because nobody wants to claim her. I've never seen anything like this. I live in a 90% Democrat county in where I live, and they don't want to claim her because they know that those are the houses that are going to be looted first if society collapses. So they're putting the signs on the side of the road in public, underneath stop signs. I went out there late at night. I'm like, oh no, we ain't doing this. I took the thing out. I took it with me. I urinated on the damn thing in my backyard. That was it. You know why? Because here's the way I look at it. I'm not going to come home from work busting my ass every day to barely make ends meet, which I was never rich. I've never been rich, but I used to be able to live more comfortably.
Yeah, you're like the guy where you go to work and you just do good. You're not like sweating for a paycheck, but you could be but you could do better is what most people would say. I'm good, but I can be better. Yeah.
And I'm not going to pass a Kamala Harris sign every time I come back from work, stressing about bills, stressing about what has to be taken care of, stressing about having to rob Peter to pay Paul. No, you ain't putting a Kamala Harris sign in my face. We ain't doing that. Because if it was all the way around, I put a Trump sign in your face, you wouldn't like it. So I took it. I'm like, no, we ain't leaving this out here in the neighborhood. Get out of here. And what's funny is there were other signs down the road that were there, in public spots, and they're all gone too. And I didn't touch those.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, a person like her, because they had that big blow up on X about what does a vice president do? That's how the average person is just so stupid when it comes to anything politic wise. And I was that kind of way too when I was younger. Like, I didn't really care for politics as much. I still technically really don't. The only reason why I care more is because it's actually better to be more in the know than not the know. So I had to update my knowledge on most things. Most of the stuff I generally forgotten. People are like, oh, that's how Congress works. And I was like, yeah, elections are kind of stupid if you really look at it from the grand scheme of things. But Kamala Harris is someone where she was in power, right? She's technically in power right now as the vice president. You just ask anyone that supports her, if she truly believes all these things she's saying, why did none of these things happen? None of it happened. I don't get it with people. They somehow just put all that up on Joe Biden. It's like, you guys know she was right there with him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's not like she was absent. She has the power to do something now. And then people say, well, she wasn't the president. Well, that doesn't matter. You still have more power and influence to be part of this administration. If you say it, it's going to happen. If you bring it up that this is an issue you want to tackle, you think Joe Biden's weak ass is going to tell you no? He don't even know who you are half the time. oh man.
He probably thinks Kamala's that daughter he used to touch.
Come on, man. Why corn pop wearing a wig? Come on. I'm not a joke.
Our 80-year-old former president went into a gas station asking for a milkshake. That's how you know.
Oh my God.
Milkshakes can transcend life itself, I would say. But recently, there was that clip Kamala had where she was like, I believe that Twitter should work like Facebook. And like, lady, that just proves right there, neither should women vote nor why you're retarded. Guys, the reason why different businesses function differently is because there's different owners. That's like the most basic 101 shit ever. She's like, I believe that Facebook and I believe that Facebook and Twitter, why don't they work the same in censoring disinformation? And it's like, what are you talking about? What is wrong with you? Like, anyone that endorses that idiot is a moron. I'm sorry. Like, she is a retard. I do my due diligence in listening to the other side because I do think to understand what they're saying, you'd have to hear what they're saying. It's crazy. There's only so much I can take in a week to listen to that. I'm not
and the thing is, her policies, for anybody that was paying attention, are essentially communism. A lot of the ideas that she got came from Maduro's, reign in Venezuela, and look how well that served Venezuela. Not very good. And the other half of her policies are straight ripped off of her political opponent, Donald Trump, which, I mean, come on, like all of a sudden she said something that implied she was in support of the wall. Are you out of your damn mind? We know that that's not going to happen. She's either lying or you're going to start seeing your David Hoggs and your Harry Sissons of the world start calling for the wall. Which one's it going to be? Because I don't think they're ready to go build that wall over there.
The other thing that's really crazy is that that one white lady, I forgot her name, who was at the Republican convention earlier this year. It was like a few months ago, where she said something so vital for the average person. Remember how she had said that she didn't like Trump because of what like the media said, and then basically it took her father to tell her, "Hey, honey, just look into it." Right there, for anyone who doesn't understand what I just said, there proves how average the idiot is for most people. She was just told by her dad, "Hey, just look into the guy." That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that goes to show you right there how just inept most people are. They're just going to believe whatever.
There
Just
are some
whatever.
people that are too far gone, man. I mean, some of the, you know, the people that'll listen, I think those are great because they're going to go, they're going to look, they're going to do research and be like, hey, this kind of makes sense. But then there's this side, I call them the true believers, and like to tell us that we're all in a cult, right? So, what? You mean RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, all these people that were Democrats? They're in a cult now, or did they leave because you're in a cult and they decided to walk away from that cult? And they always have the crazy eye. They're always like this. I'm voting for Kamala Harris today. We're having fun, aren't we? Like their minds are just gone. Their minds are just completely effing gone.
Well, it just goes to show you the average person isn't even going to look into what the person is telling them. They just believe it. She just straight up believes what they told her just because. That's terrible. That is actually awful.
Yeah, we've got a lot of low information people, man. It's horrible.
Yeah. Like, and those are the people that side wants to vote. Yeah, the average person that really just has no skin in the game to vote, and those people who are just actually straight up morons get to decide what goes on. Like that's crazy to think about. You know,
a lot of these people don't have their own bills. They don't pay for their own groceries. They don't even pay for their own phone. You know, mommy and daddy still pay for them. That's why you got a lot of them who are just completely dumb, who think that they can change their gender whenever they want. They got watermelons in bio, trans flags in bio, pronouns in bio. They haven't ever seen a cause that they didn't want to support. They're triple jab, quadra boosted. Like anything they are told, they will do it without question. And that just sort of baffles me because maybe it's because I'm a habitual line stepper. I don't know. But, you know, anytime somebody is like, you have to do something, you have to, I'm going to ask questions. Why do I have to? Why do I have to? What are you offering me to that would compel me to do this? You know, what are the consequences if I don't? Like, you have to ask these questions. It's not just a political thing. It's a life thing. You have to, you know, sort of be able to sort of push back. You know, you don't have to be agreeable all the time, you know.
Yeah. I actually always think that people are more in the middle on certain things than they like to admit. Like, I do believe that people are liberal on some things and they're conservative. And I believe that some conservatives are liberal on some things. You can even be like a conservative or a liberal on libertarian things. You know, I think there's a mixture of there. People just mostly put their flag down in a camp that they most believe in. But most people, even in those camps, as crazy as they are, they do believe something in the other side. Just nowadays, they can't say that. Because remember, there are so, like Lauren Champing we were talking about. How many people oh my God, guys, I shit you not. How many people begged this woman to be on her podcast? Because she started a new podcast about her YouTube channel before it was taken down. People were like, oh my God, Lauren Chen, I'll get on my knees and put my tongue in your hairy pussy just to podcast. I want to be on your podcast. Oh, it came out that it was alleged that her media company took a bribe from Russia. Alleged. They didn't even say it was true.
And on an allegation, they nuked her whole channel.
Yeah, then everyone went, oh my God. Oh my goodness, how dare you? People are trash, man.
And then while, and this is why I was trying to explain to people, is if YouTube, and this is horrifying, but this is a horrifying precedent for YouTube. If YouTube can now remove a channel on suspicion of a situation that's not confirmed, you haven't been indicted, you haven't committed a crime, and just remove your channel on suspicion, that's a new precedent. That's what they wanted to set, because over the weekend, they removed Taylor Hanson's YouTube channel, completely vaporized. So now they're coming for the tenant dominoes, and they're working their way up. And I really wouldn't be surprised if between now and 8 p.m. tomorrow night, Tim Pool's channel is suddenly Thanos snapped out of existence. Because that's what this goal is. If they can stop,
where they suppress his channel, where his videos don't go out to as much people, no notifications, might be a little messed up.
Remember, tomorrow night is the presidential debate, and I almost feel like with this whole Tenet Media scandal, it's almost like a way to roundabout take Tim Pool off and claim they have reason to do so now without having an actual reason to do so. And this would be akin to election interference if they did so. Also, it's very interesting that this all came out only right after he filed a lawsuit against the Harris administration for calling him a right-wing extremist.
Yeah, because this is the thing people need to understand, that she's someone, or she wasn't even really pro-Trump herself.
Yeah.
From what I remember about her, the one thing that made her really just not want to vote for Trump at all is the abortion thing, which
he was too lax on abortion in her.
Well, people tried telling her, lady, that is a state to state thing. That is like, it's almost doesn't matter what he thinks about it in general, because it's literally just a statewide thing. Whatever the state decides goes on that issue.
Here's the thing. I like some things that Lauren says, and there's some things with her I don't agree with. In terms of anything as far as anti-Trump right now, it's him or it's communism. And that's just plain as day, clear as crystal. So you can have maybe these little gripes about it, but you don't have the luxury of sitting this one out because of your minor gripes. You don't have the luxury. It's either him or it's communism. Which one? Which way? Which way do you think you're going to live? Because, if you want to roll the dice on the Kamala Harris presidency when she's already said, essentially, in no uncertain terms, I'm going to come for your guns. I'm going to come for your free speech. I'm going to take down X. I'm going to increase the welfare state. I'm going to pass regulation that controls the price of groceries, which in Venezuela collapsed the country and put it into mass starvation. And on the other side, you also have BRICS economically saying we will literally walk away from the dollar, which would devalue our dollar to dust overnight. So at least Trump's the only one saying, I'm trying to protect the dollar and prevent that from happening. So, I mean, you got to look at it that way. Anybody who says that the economy is not important to them in a situation like this is just objectively a fucking moron. I mean, at this point, it's literally, and the problem is that a lot of these people would rather set the ground they're standing on fire than support Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's the whole put your nose to spite your face kind of thing.
Yeah, I find it ridiculous because then you challenge him. Tell me one racist thing this man has said. Show me a video where he's used the N-word. They can't do it. So they get mad at you. The man wasn't a racist a day in his life until he ran against the Democrats.
True.
There's an old Oprah Winfrey interview with him.
I remember that one. I saw it. Yeah.
His position has not shifted. That's the same position in the 80s that it is now. So who moved? Because it wasn't Donald Trump, because he has the same position in the 80s that he does in 2024. So that means Oprah's the one who moved. Everybody else are the ones who moved. They started shifting towards this mass psychosis, and they don't want to admit it. And that's what's scary about the world we're living in right now.
The other thing that people got to factor in is, just looking at things that Canada's done with their not Canada, sorry, Brazil. Brazil's just basically outlawed Twitter in general, and kind of find out people are still using it. But just that's crazy though. Like they would love to censor information so much that they would basically fine you for using a social media app. That's crazy. Or even what the UK did recently, about a few weeks ago, they announced we just may put you in jail if you retweet or like something. And it's like, I never thought there'd be a day on the planet where you could go to jail for liking a post on social media and or retweeting it. That's crazy. That sounds so stupid.
England said that they would extradite anybody who was outside the country that violated their law. So they're threatening us, saying, if you shitpost about our country, we'll call the FBI, the DOJ, and have you extradited to England. You know what? I'd like to see y'all try. But you know what? The funny thing about it is, if Kamala Harris gets in, she probably would do that to get rid of us. Oh, let's get all the MAGA people. She'll keep the immigrants. She'll get rid of the MAGA people, which is anybody that didn't vote for her.
Oh, the other thing to come up that happened recently was actually the Acolyte, as you bring up. The Acolyte was canceled because, let's be honest here, nobody watched. Even the people that probably bragged about it on Twitter didn't watch either. And, it's crazy, man. These people always say believe the media. People are like, yeah, you should believe the media. They're telling you the truth. Well, guys, the media, Deadline reported it first, and Deadline reported that basically the show was canceled because of low viewership. Keep on what I just said there. Not YouTubers' opinions, not because of bad word of mouth. Well, bad word of mouth would imply that, but just YouTubers did not have an effect on that. Disney straight up canceled it because there's nobody watching. And the amount of people that watched it was low anyway. At peak for the first 3 episodes, it was 4.8 million people. Then less than half of that came back to watch the finale. That means between episodes 4 and 7, everyone just fell off.
Well, it's funny you mention the Acolyte because there's a lot of moving parts with this that I find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
First off, being that, of course, there's more people being outraged about the Acolyte being canceled on social media than there were that actually watched the Acolyte. Now, these people are again, they're psychotic and they are mentally off. If they liked this show so much, maybe they should have watched it. Maybe they'd get their season 2. And then secondly, they're sitting there, they're whining about Ryan Kindle. They're whining about Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. They're whining about Gary from Nerdrotic.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the reality of that situation. Do you honestly think these guys, even though they're sort of gravitate towards our way of thinking, wanted that show to be canceled? Hell no, that show was a cash cow for anybody that makes money off of their videos. Let me tell you something, deep down, low key, none of the guys that make content want it to be canceled because it gives them something to mock, meme, and shame. And it works out very well for them. They're the only ones who made money out of this ordeal. Disney lost money. It's just a money siphon. But also then there's the influence part of this. The influence part, the left believes, because they are easily influenced, they are easy to brainwash, they're easy to manipulate. There's not much there to wash because there's not much brain.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reality. They believe that people were influenced into not watching this show. However, in the real world, what you're watching, the people who watch YouTube channels, who watch videos on Rumble, who watch videos on Odyssey, wherever you watch your videos, you're not looking to get your mind changed. You're looking for what I call confirmation bias, which is essentially all reality. And the left does this too. You're going to watch people that gravitate to your general way of thinking.
Yeah.
Ryan Kindle has not convinced me to not watch The Acolyte. I already wasn't going to watch The Acolyte. I'm watching his video to watch him rag on that motherfucking show. And same with Neurotic. I'll watch Neurotic make fun of something all day because it's funny. It's entertaining. It's more entertaining than The Acolyte. But, nobody convinced me not to watch the show. Yeah. But you look at the numbers. You look at The Acolyte's low numbers. You look at Concord's low numbers as a video game. You look at Dustborn's low numbers as a video game. These people don't actually have any legitimacy. Even politically, when we talk about politics and being downstream from culture, I don't believe that 50% of this country are leftists. I just think they're very loud. They have a lot of bot campaigns behind them, bot armies. There's a lot of funded people making them look legitimate. But if they were legitimate, then all of these modern audience TV shows and video games would be million sellers. They're not. They're all doing horribly. Ubisoft stock, how you doing today? You're down to $2.95 a share. Nobody's buying that woke BS, and that's why I think a lot of the nervousness is starting to set in politically, because if politically they lose power, it's over. It's over. The thrill ride of the DEI grift is done, and I think
that's
it's been
the thing too, man. Is that these people that say these things think the average person, and I do believe the average person isn't very smart, but there is another section of average people, because there's a lot of people on the planet. So the other average people that can think for themselves, they think of you as such a bona fide retard that you can't think for yourself about, God forbid, a TV show. Politics are a bit different, but when it comes to like movies and television, some are easier to kind of navigate on how you would like something. So these people, the way they talk about these fans is so just disrespectful. And you wonder why these fans wouldn't give you an eye on your content or review or like anything. They all have parroted the same talking point for weeks since the Acolyte was canceled, is that the only reason why they didn't like it is because they were told not to like it. Do you people know what that means? When someone says that, they mean that they're basically telling you can't think for yourself, which by definition they're calling you stupid, right?
Do you really think Amanda Stenberg is a charming human being? I mean, she is the most insufferable asshole that I've seen in a long time. Yeah. When you make a video attacking fans for not watching your show, it comes from a place of complete entitlement. And that costs them even more viewers, because here you are, you're blaming the fans. But you're not really blaming the fans. You got to realize the customer is always right. And that means that you're supposed to be entertaining these people. You're not supposed to preach to them. You're not supposed to lecture them. You're not supposed to throw a tantrum when they don't watch your show. You're supposed to maybe look in a mirror and figure out what you need to do better to make people actually want to watch and support your show. And somewhere along the way, Hollywood has lost that. Hollywood believes that we need to serve them, not the other way around. Hollywood is a joke, and everybody in it is a court jester here to entertain us, not the other way around. Look, Mark Ruffalo thinks that I give a shit about his politics because he's been the Incredible Hulk for 5 minutes. Man, go somewhere. You don't pay my bills. You don't help me out with my problems. You don't change the spark plugs on my car. What do you do, Mark Ruffalo? I'm the guy who says you don't want to make the green guy mad. Get the fuck out of here, man. You ain't shit. Like you're not even a good Hulk. You're not even a good Hulk, man.
That's the thing that I do get mad at the fans at sometimes because they put too much emphasis on the actor's opinions. I'm like, guys, I don't come to an actor for their politics opinion. Like even when young people say, "Oh, I don't like Eminem anymore because he doesn't like conservatives." I'm like, guys, I was never coming to Eminem for politics. Okay. Can he rap? Can he give me a good music video? That's all. Like nothing else is useful out of that person. You shouldn't be coming to that person for politics anyway.
I will say this though,
and that's the problem with the fans. They're coming to these weird people that shouldn't be talking about politics anyway.
Yeah, but I will say this. I will say this. A lot of those actors do lose the plot when they don't know when to quit talking about it. So that's sort of the inverse of that. Like Mark Hamill, here's a guy.
Oh my god, holy shit.
I mean, nobody hates the original Star Wars trilogy. Yeah. But like if Mark Hamill's in something from now to forward, I don't even watch it because he's become so insufferable, he's become such an asshole about it that he can't separate the art from the politics. And so when they cross that line, I can see where people are like, okay, now I'm sort of annoyed. Jack Black's another great example. This guy crossed over politically, went politically mentally insane, went very like pro booster shot. I mean, went nuts. And now the dude, on top of being a nutcase, is starring in every mediocre shit film imaginable. And I'm just looking at that, and now he's become like this kiss of death. If I see him in a movie, I'm going the other direction. You know, I can't believe that not that I was never a big Minecraft guy, but good lord, that trailer is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Just classic Warner Brothers. No, like Warner Brothers. In fact, Ryan, there's a reason why they're like $50 billion in debt. Keep in mind, before the whole certain virus thing happened, and 2 years before that, remember when the DCEU was? I mean, some people would say anyone that says the DCEU was successful, you're retarded. You're just straight up stupid. That was a failure. There was a thing that Warner Brothers did that was one of the dumbest things I ever seen a company do. Remember they gave J.J. Abrams and his company, Personally Bad Robot, like $100-some-odd million.
Yes, I do remember that.
It was supposed to do like DC content focused on like the paranormal aspect, like Constantine, Justice League Dark. Guess how much content he got out for DC, everyone? About as much influence as my dad has had in my life. Zero. Wow. He did nothing. He literally got $200 million for nothing. He just did nothing. He quite literally did nothing. And then this fucking grifting piece of shit went and wrote a show meant for streaming, tried to sell it off, and then no one bought that shit. What an absolute clown. Warner Bros. Is a trash company. Remember when they gave Clint Eastwood like $100 million just produced that Mexican border hopper movie, Cry Macho, because he did well for them in the past, and it's like, no, okay, yeah, he did good for you in the past, but that doesn't mean you just give him just $100 million for free. Like, these companies deserve to just lose money. They're dumb. Recently, Lionsgate, the Borderlands movie. Oh my god, you watched that? That was trash. Yeah, that's just dog shit. Why was I asked this? Why was Kevin Hart even in that? You're just useless. Like,
yeah,
they're just taking L after L. Like, Lionsgate has the Borderlands movie that they fucked up on. Now they're gonna go fuck up the Naruto live action movie. I swear to God, if Sakura's the main character, I'm gonna just throw a gasket. I'm actually gonna burn my computer down. Honestly,
have these people like? Here's what amazes me, right? Like, you ever think, you remember back when Nicolas Cage was gonna potentially be Superman, and you ever heard the story? Yeah. You remember when Nicolas Cage talked about the story? He says, "I put the costume on." And I thought I looked so ridiculous, I basically laughed myself out of the room and decided this wasn't a good idea. It's amazing that these, narcissists can't figure that out. Like, Nicolas Cage, this is what makes him pretty effing based. He looked at himself in the Superman costume and said, it's not going to work. But, meanwhile, Jack Black is looking at himself in the mirror and he's filleting himself. Yeah, I'm Jack Black. They want to see me in this. No, they don't. You have no self-awareness. Like, how did the cast of Borderlands look at themselves in the mirror and not realize, this is a mistake. You're making a mistake. Maybe I need to fire my agent. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. And, you know, it's this Principal Skinner meme. Am I out of touch? No, it's the students that are wrong. You know, like this is.
We're talking about a movie that on Thursday night previews made $1.35 million. That's how
the
you
movie made less than Morbius. That's embarrassing.
They gave up on it in 3 weeks. It already was a huge disaster week 1, and then week 2 it drops like 80%. And I'm like, all right, this is over.
I'll be honest with you. I've got the most brilliant idea, but they would never. They would take all these companies banding together. It would take them a lot of licensing revenue, and it would probably save them from the woke video game disaster too. I think we need a video game called Movie Bombs, and it's just like the Smash Brothers of bad movies that have been out for the past 2 years. So we could have like Morbius, the playable Borderlands characters, the playable crappy Minecraft characters, The Crow, which did disastrously. Just get everyone from a movie that I absolutely cratered, throw them all in. Throw in Madam Web, throw in all the characters from that, throw in the magical, the American Society for Magical Negroes, throw the characters from that, and just let them fight in some sort of Smash Brothers melee style setting. I think they can make money with that. I would pay to play a game where I get to morb on like everybody.
No, speaking of gaming, because people don't understand, this is how you know gaming has been really bad. Let's just take stock of what's happened recently. So Sony announced that they were doing massive layoffs earlier, January, earlier this year. And then there was the articles that came out that the person that runs the PlayStation department, the CEO, wants PC gamers to buy a PS5. He straight up said, I need PC players to buy a PS5, because before that, like about a month before that, we found out that the PS5 hasn't sold as many units as they wanted to. Then, guess what up? Insomniac hacked again. Then we have this Concord situation. Oh, sorry, Helldivers 2. Remember that happened?
Yes. The PSN.
They legally tried to literally, people that couldn't access a PSN account to link to Helldivers 2.
That was like 216 countries.
Yeah, so that means literally if you had went and bought that game, they were literally going to scam you, technically, legally scam you out of your playing your game. You bought a $60, $70 game plus tax, put in maybe hundreds of hours into that shit. They were like, you know what? You got to connect this PSN account. I can't do it. Well, I guess you're screwed. Whoa. Dude, you can't do that. You actually can't do that. That's literally scamming somebody. You literally can't do that. What's wrong with you?
Let's not forget Sweet Baby Inc.
And then Sweet Baby Inc. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Anyone that played those damn Arkham games didn't want that. All they have to do was just make a Batman Beyond game obviously you have to recast Kevin Conroy. That's it. Easy. Rinse, wash, repeat. No, we got a looter shooter. Just what the fuck is? Oh, we lost $200 million. No fucking shit.
Well, you also gender swapped Mr. Freeze, made him a fat lesbian. You had situations like Captain Boomerang urinating on like the Flash's body. You gave Batman the worst send off ever. You talked about misogyny in the script. You gave Harley Quinn some sort of makeover where she was just like dumpy. She was just dumpy. Like the side by side comparison, a PS3 game looked better than a PS5 game. Something has gone wrong.
Well, it's just so crazy, man, because I don't understand what they wanted out of Suicide Squad Kill Justice League. If you're going to do a game like that, then don't tie it to the Arkham universe. Like, no one wanted that shit a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, saying it's canon at the end of it was like, oh, by the way, all of this is canon. What? You better decanonize that shit because you just killed your company. The only one that committed suicide was Rocksteady Games.
Do you know what's crazy? There's another DC game that came out. Gotham Knights came out from WB Montreal. Just came and went. No one remembers that game at all. Yeah, no one does. It just came and went. Like, I don't understand why these companies are making it as hard. I mean, there's so many problems with gaming at this point, man. Like, where do we even start? The Concord shit, that's recent. You want to talk about that? We'll talk about that. Concord, a game. Basically, Sony wanted an Overwatch clone. That was the big thing at the time. This game took like 6 years to come out. They're charging $70 for a new game, right? People don't understand. Any game that's like that, like Valorant, Overwatch, or Apex Legends, those are free. Or Overwatch 2 now, because Blizzard realized you could just make the game free and you just charge people in-game content like microtransactions, like skins and everything.
Exactly.
Sony's charging $70. Then they want to, for this thing, $70 to play an Overwatch clone when there's the other three are not only just way more competitive, way more better, bigger fan bases.
And they're aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Here's the
yeah.
thing: aesthetically
Mhm.
pleasing. I remember Madame Savvy talking about this a lot on X in terms of Concord. Your characters have to be something that people want to cosplay as, want to draw fan art of.
Mhm.
So when you make this fat, obese, dumpy Stacey Abrams in a suit of green armor thing, and you say, "Here you go," and then there was like a fat Mexican guy, and I shit you not, I thought the fat Mexican was just an alternate skin for the Stacey Abrams looking character. I thought they were the same character. Until the day they canceled Concord, I thought those were two of the same character.
Mhm.
All right. You have, this weird transsexual Blasian thing with the purple hair and the red jacket. It didn't work. Who wants that? You think anyone's going to cosplay as that, by the way? Overwatch. Look how many women cosplay as Diva or Mercy or any of these characters.
Yeah.
Overwatch has been successful in that regard. Tracer, any of them. Right?
Mhm.
Regardless, like here's the reality is women, when they say, oh, women want to see themselves, they also want something they can cosplay as and think they look good cosplaying as. No woman in the history of ever is looking at someone built like a bricklayer and saying,
Mhm.
that's what I want to wear to the anime convention. That's what I want to wear to Dragon Con. It's not happening.
That's the thing, man, is there's already other better alternatives for a style of game like that. Even Marvel Rivals just came out, but people factor in Marvel's just going to have people buy that because it's Marvel. Marvel
Exactly.
in general will have that. Concord doesn't have that. There's nothing there.
Sony's trying to make a new IP from scratch on a system which, by the way, doesn't sell all that well. The reality is the PS5 has not sold well because newsflash for you. Maybe releasing a system brand new during a basic recession is a bad idea. So, but they release it and people have it. Unfortunately, PS5 users are basically like CrossFitters and vegans. How do you know that they have a PS5? They'll tell you. Because they want applause and a pat on the back for buying.
They're like, I got a PS5, and I'm like, all right, bro, cool. I guess,
now,
bro.
Yeah, all PS5 exclusives that have come out have not been strong enough to warrant owning a PS5 for. Was I sad I couldn't play Final Fantasy 16 when it first came out? Was I sad I couldn't play Stellar Blade when it first came out? Yes, but I'm not going to buy a $500 system from a company that hates me, that's putting out crap like Concord, that's putting out, putting out remakes of games for the modern audience, that's shoving The Last of Us 2 down my throat over and over again. Like, why would I subject myself to that?
Oh, they canceled that too. Remember the Last of Us live service game? They canceled that too. Yeah, it's another thing they just canceled.
On PC, you have the freedom to mod out any of that woke bullshit from a game. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm seeing like mods for Horizon Forbidden West, where they're making Aloy not look like Nico Avocado in the videos where he was fat. I now have to specify. It's crazy. I have to specify that. Mm-hmm. Now he's skinny. Holy, now I have to specify, man. But you see that people are able to mod these games. And also, I'm not condoning this, but low key, I am condoning it. You can get games for free on certain places if you know where to look.
That's true. The same thing is when they even put this stat out for PlayStation. If you have a PS5, the Wii U at some point has had as many exclusives as the PS5 has.
Yeah.
Exclusives aren't selling the PS5. Like, people got to factor in. Just recently, GameStop announced that they're going to be opening up locations just for retro gaming. And people got to factor in. Why would they have to do that if these new games are selling well? They're not selling, people.
They're not happening. Now, tomorrow's going to be very interesting because a system with no games on it, the PS5, is going to unveil the PS5 Pro, which is an MSRP of potentially $700. If I didn't want your $500 system, yeah, I believe so.
Oh God!
But here's the thing: if I didn't want your $500 system, what kind of crack are you smoking that you think I'm going to buy your $700 system? Like, no, thank you.
It might be just an extra terabyte, and it's digital.
You see that thing in the background? That's a PS4, regular, non-pro. That's all I need, and all it basically does is play movies. That's all it's there for.
It's great, Chris, man. You can even stream off that thing still too, can't you? You can stream off of it. Yeah.
So I mean, what PS5 offered over the PS4 wasn't enough to convince me to switch over. And if I was going to switch over, it's now getting to the price point where it's easier to take that money and invest in a decent gaming PC, gaming laptop, wherever you want to go with it. And you're going to have a lot more versatility than what you have. You're going to have a lot more agency than what you have. I mean, I can download a game from 20 years ago on my computer, download an HD texture pack for that game, and make it look like a PS4, PS5 level game, even though it's like a game from like Nintendo 3DS. So, you know, with that ability to do that in my hands, you know, I've got this big backlog of games from 10, 15, 20 years ago that I can play. I don't need to buy your $70 soy slop video game to be lectured about political correctness.
And then you find out most of these people not even just hate you, they think of you in the most horrible sense. There's many tweets where people have covered in their videos where the people that are the not just the social media managers on like these Discord pages, not them, people that work on the game. Just recently with Concord, that person was like, well, these weirdos will have to play any more games at a certain point or something like that. And I was like,
challenge accepted.
They're literally hiring people that literally don't like gamers, hate gamers to work on these games. That's ridiculous. Then these people are just going on social media and just freely saying this shit like we hate gamers and all this other shit. And it's like, and you're surprised these games don't sell. It's actually just ludicrous.
And then you're sad when you get laid off, right? Like, you know, the customer is always right. Just like I said, if you're not going to support us, why should we support you? You know? And you know, it's just sad because I do see Japan, you know, engaging in a lot of this wokeness overseas, and it's like, no, don't do that. Be more like Korea is doing now, where they're putting out these base games. I mean, look, man, like for example, PS5, we talk about exclusivity. The one game they put out that wasn't woke was Stellar Blade, and they still try to censor it to some degree. Can you imagine what's going to happen? I'm hearing Stellar Blade PC release is upon us very soon. The modders are going to have a field day with this game. You're going to see crazy shit like you wouldn't believe. You're going to see every costume imaginable on Eve factored into that game, whether it's X-Men costumes, whether it's other superhero costumes, all this stuff. You're going to have Overwatch costumes. It's essentially just like cosplay dress up, what these modders are going to do. You are only limited by your imagination. And they're like, oh, well, you just want to coom to this game. Here's a novel idea. You can admire art without whipping out your dick and jacking off on it. When you go to the museum, do you jack off on the Mona Lisa? Like, this is a question I have for these freaking leftists.
Yeah. It's a common thing. People are like, you only want a hot girl in the game to jerk off to, and it's like, where did you even come to that conclusion? That's just so weird. Like, when I play a game, I see a hot girl, I just see a hot girl and I move on. Who is like, I need to buy this game and see a hot naked chick just to jerk off to her?
Here's the reality.
What?
Here's the reality of that. You know what? I just don't want to see ugly things. It's not about, you know, whether or not someone can fap to a character or not, which is just really, again, that's just a projection from people that sex is the only unit of value they understand. But, you know, I just don't want to see ugly things. I want to see a bunch of ugly, fat, dumpy lesbians. I'll go to like my local Walmart and hang out there for an hour. I'll get my fill. Yeah. You know? So, you know, when I come home, I want to see. Look, I don't want to see no fat men either. I want to see men that are ripped like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. I don't want to see no ugly people in my game. Ugly people make me sad. If I want to see ugly people, listen, I got a fucking mirror. I can do that for free.
I don't understand. Like, no dude wants to look at some ugly fat bitch. Actually, Lizzo just trying to become actually more healthier, more fit. Jeez, crazy.
They're gonna crucify her. They're gonna crucify her just for losing weight, just like they did to Adele. They're gonna be like, "How dare you? You betrayed us. Betrayed us how? By not wanting to die?" It doesn't make sense to me.
Crazy, unless she wants to end up like Boogie, that guy. Oh God, you don't want to end up like Boogie. Everybody, 500 pounds, 60-year-old white guy sitting in a basement, basically lying about having cancer. That's how you know you've hit rock bottom. That guy. Who lies about having cancer? That's so disgusting.
That is just really weird. I don't see how you could do that. There's like a special place in hell to lie about that. You know, too many people.
Oh my God, man! Like, I'll ask you this: Rumble and other social media platforms. You heard recently about the whole Rumble thing where the CEO is going to try and sue Google with Elon and other people because they were trying to suppress him in the search engine? Do you think that would help out Rumble and the whole algorithm thing?
I think so. I think it would help out quite a bit. I think that Rumble is basically another thing that's going to help out Rumble. I think is YouTube continuing to make really negative business decisions. I do think removing people who haven't committed a crime, like Lauren Chen, Taylor Hansen, etc., puts a bad taste in people's mouths. Again, YouTube is, and it's sort of scary because what I was thinking with that is, okay, so YouTube told all of these rewriting Ripley weirdos that, everyone they were attacking was still within bounds of the YouTube TOS, right? But now if rewriting Ripley decides to come out and write some article about D-Day Cobra's secret ties to Russia, are YouTube just going to pull the Geeks and Gamers channel now because of speculation, hearsay, whatever? Because that seems to be like, it's almost like YouTube gift wrapped them a loophole a day later by, we're going to pull down these channels because they might be funded by Russia.
And that's the thing what would taking down her YouTube channel even do? Like, what does that even mean? It just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, well, it's just YouTube basically drawing a battle line and saying, we don't want conservatives here because we believe conservatives may or may not be Russian agents. Again, like I said, hey, Putin, you know what? Hey, I'll tell you what, you can cut me a check. I'll give you my phone number. Give me a call if you want to pay me in rubles. I'd gladly take all your fucking rubles, man. I'm broke. Look, I drive a Ford. That's how you know I'm broke. So we could work something out. And again, the reason that I don't really sweat the thing with Lauren Chen or Tenet Media is, let's be honest, every one of these big guys, every one of these big fish, whether you're on the left or the right, you are funded by somebody, whether it's the people who are complaining about the Russia affiliation don't have shit to say about China. They don't have shit to say about the World Economic Forum, George Soros, Klaus Schwab. BlackRock, these big monies coming in to push a position politically, right? You're worried about Russian influence, but when the influence is on your side, you don't have anything to say about it. Even when it's influence that is directly influencing American politicians, like Eric Swalwell literally sticking his dick inside of a Chinese spy, you have nothing to say about that. But you're worried about Russia because they cut a paycheck to Lauren Chen, who then used that money to pay Tim Pool, and then saying that makes Tim Pool a Russian agent. Kind of weird. Kind of, that's kind of a stretch. But the fact that YouTube is embracing that stretch is what's scary.
Well, it's really weird. It's because people don't understand with Google and YouTube, since Google owns YouTube, they have a multi-million-dollar invented aspect to keep YouTube to be the top dog in terms of like video creating content in social media. People understand the multi-million-dollar investment that Google has into YouTube almost incentivizes them to basically have Google themselves push YouTube more. So people are on Rumble. Rumble has a lot of people there. There's a lot of people generally watching the live streams. Well, then it should pop up more. Like when you type up social media platforms, Rumble should pop up more.
Yeah,
that would definitely hurt it.
And the thing is, there are people who do not want to work with YouTube, and no offense, because I know we're on YouTube right now, but me personally, like all my stuff, all my shows are, I say I'm too crude for YouTube, and I agree with that because I don't want to go through the drama being demonetized, of getting warnings, of getting all of this and that every single week because I know my mouth, I know the things I'm going to say. I'm going to use that magic. I'm going to use that magic word that Melody Max says a lot more articulately than I do. I use it a lot. I'm not going to use it here, but because we're on YouTube. But I use a lot of these words, and I'm not gonna bite my tongue on my show. So I find myself on these alt tech platforms. But a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you ain't shit because you're not on YouTube." Well, then I ain't shit, but I don't care what you think. I'm gonna still do the things the way I'm gonna do them. And I do believe that alt tech is providing us a pathway to not be beholden by YouTube's ever increasing terms of service. YouTube is always adding a new rule, and a lot of times they take that rule and they retroactively apply it. So your videos from 2-3 years ago are suddenly getting hit for violations, and it's like, well, it wasn't a violation when I made it. Well, and they're like, well, we don't care. It's an excuse to retroactively punish channels. And that's a bad business model. And I think there are a lot of people who've had enough of it. A lot of people who do want to move to other platforms. And, I think the thing is that YouTube knows that if Rumble gets enough views where monetization of advertising becomes lucrative for people on Rumble, you're going to see a lot more people defect. You're going to see a lot more people, switch over. You're going to see a lot more people that want to say, hey, I'd rather do business with Rumble because they take less of a share of the profit, which I think they're worried about that more than the politics part of it. Rumble takes less of the profit. It's harder to profit on Rumble, but they take less out of it because they take a smaller percentage. So, I think to that regard, it's something. But I don't know, man. I honestly am tired of like Google being this big dog, and of course, surprisingly, and one of the few times that I agree with our government is saying that Google has gotten too big and they need to break it up, and they're not sure exactly how they're going to do that right now, but it's something that has to be done.
Yeah, and that's the thing is people understand even with places like Rumble, Twitch was in the same spot that Rumble was a long time ago. People had to basically organically make sure their audience went to Twitch to watch them stream. Well, Rumble is going to have to basically kind of go through the same motions. I don't think it's going to be getting to this like very huge thing overnight. But the thing is, people factor in, if you just put out your content over there and just don't think about it, you bring up it's the same content you're making, just throw it up there, making the account is free. If you ever at some point randomly lose your YouTube channel, like I did, my original big one, and I was only left with a little bit of content left for the stuff that I saved, you're with nothing. There's no reason not to put out content over there. There's no reason not to. I just don't understand why people are just so apprehensive of even just making an account to put content. It's like, guys, it's the same shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And so this thing is, what if Rumble gets big like Twitch did, or it gets even bigger than Rumble is right now, where it starts to get in like the word of mouth of people know what it is, and you have to start from scratch like a bunch of other people did. Like, you're gonna be just, you're gonna be just at the bottom, struggling.
A lot of platforms like BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey, all three offer that sort of integration where it sort of lines up with your YouTube account. And that's a good thing to do. For example, I'm looking at Odyssey right now. Lauren Chen's entire channel is here intact. All her videos are here intact. So her channel may have gotten nuked from YouTube, but her content is all still here on Odyssey. I'm not sure if she had a Rumble channel, but if she had a Rumble channel, then it would operate the same way. That's important. Because unless you're saving every copy of every video you ever make, which I'm pretty sure very few people are doing, because that's a lot of hard drive space.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
You got to have one of these as a backup. Only a fool would put their eggs in one basket in the political climate that we are seeing play out right now. It's not conducive.
That's because there's very few, like, I'll say, genres of content YouTube just doesn't give a fuck for. But unless you're in like those specific genres, you could literally have a video you released 5 years ago, and that could get you a copyright strike.
Exactly.
Or a warning. That's crazy. Or now the new one they do is like reuse content. It's like, do people know that you reusing your outro could be considered reuse content, and they could just strike you for that?
Yeah, and by the way, it's selective enforcement. They're not going to do it to the people they play favorites on. So if you're not somebody that they deem as one of their chosen ones, you're screwed. You're screwed, and that's just the reality of the situation.
So I do hope YouTube, ends up getting challenged by Rumble. I do hope the CEO really does go through with the lawsuit and, really trying to figure out, did Google suppress them? Because people have to factor in, they have a multi-million-dollar investment to make sure that YouTube stays as the top player. And people know, just Twitch recently, the CEO announced that the company's never been profitable. Actually, guys, Twitch has been around since 2011. It's now subsidized by Amazon, the biggest company on the planet. Like, if Twitch isn't profitable, we're going to be in that's bad. That's a really bad sign, honestly.
Well, you got to look at it this way, and this is also the reality, is that competition breeds innovation. If there was never any competition for any platform, there would never be any innovation. They wouldn't create new features, new ideas, new ways to do things. So YouTube has been the top dog for so long that they've become complacent. That allows them to create rules that are a little bit heavy-handed. That allows them to make decisions that are not, particularly widely popular, like removing the dislike button, unless you have an extension, which most of us smart people got the extension, so you can see the dislikes. But these unpopular decisions are the luxuries of a company that's gotten too big. It's kind of like anything else. If there's only one game in town, you're not going to perform very well. If Sony were the only game in town, they perform even worse than they're already performing if there was no Xbox, no Nintendo system to compete with them. Professional wrestling, WWF got worse when WCW closed. When they bought WCW, there was no competition. There's only one major name.
Yeah.
All of these things, if there's no competition, whatever is there, whatever is the top dog is going to stagnate. And that's not good for us. So for us, it's better that there's, two platforms and that they're sort of dueling, competing for our support.
For people. People go to Kick, honestly. I think it's good to have multiple options. I wouldn't say that many, but having the options that we do have is good because it allows you to pick which ones you want. There was another one that I came across a few days ago, another social media platform that does videos. I forgot what it's called. I think it's something called Lolly. Not Lolly. Jeez. Fucking hell. Oh, it was the name. It was another USA based content created place. Fucking hell. I was thinking about that thing that the Chris guy did. Oh my god. Fuck, Mr. Beast dude.
Oh yeah. Chris Tyson. Chris Tyson. You want to say Chris? No, he's probably met Chris Hansen. No, but Ava Chris Tyson. Yeah, Chris Tyson. You say Lolly 2 more times, and Chris Tyson's gonna pop up here like Beetlejuice, man. You don't want that to happen to you.
Oh, shit.
You don't want to see the mess he's gonna leave behind.
You know what's crazy is that people from that cancel brigade for Star Wars, when they make that coordinated hate campaign, I'm able to understand that now all those guys are like, well, we didn't really mean to say that. So basically, we're not supposed to basically keep them to their word about what they were trying to do, which basically just straight up cancel people. But every video that Jeremy, Ryan, and Gary have ever made, they need to be held accountable for the words they use in their videos. What absolute fucking morons these people are. It's crazy. And keep in mind, guys, we're talking about Star Wars, a franchise in which it is just basically a space opera fantasy for like the cowboy genre, and then you're just having wizards fight each other with their long swords. We're talking about skies. That's what Star Wars is. It has spaceships and aliens. We're not talking about anything serious here.
Here's the reality. If you're one of these troons on the internet that's mad about Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just mad. They canceled the Acolyte, and these YouTubers, insulted your favorite show or whatever. For some reason, you're one of Amanda Listenberg's 7 fans out there. I don't know what's wrong with you. And you're sitting there with your watermelon in your bio, and your pronouns in your bio, and your Looney Tune flag in the bio, and your anime avatar of some sort of lolly. Do you honestly, if you're one of these people, and I'm talking to you all if you're out there, look in the mirror. Look at yourself. Take a good look at yourself in the real world. I know you don't want to, but look at yourself right now. Look at yourself right now the way that your father will never look at you because your father is disappointed in you.
Your father left or leftists.
Yeah. But
if you're black, you can get a dad.
Look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, if Critical Drinker, who has a gigantic YouTube channel, makes a lot of money off his YouTube channel, has written books, has been on actual mainstream media talk shows, and the whole nine. Ask yourself for 5 seconds if Critical Drinker gives a remote shit what someone like you thinks of him. I guarantee you he ain't losing sleep over you. Get over yourselves. Like, these leftists have this inflated sense of self-worth because of the fact that they think everybody is as sensitive as they are. So that if they're mean to you, that you'll break down and you'll cry. If a leftist is like mad at me, I insult him, mute him, and go about my merry way. I don't give a shit. You keep screaming, you're gonna be screaming into the void all damn day. I got better things to do.
This is what I mean? These are the people that don't even know what a woman is. These people are gonna talk to me like I'm some bro. No, people don't even know what gender you're born. Crazy logic we have with people, man. Oh, yeah, dude.
I one of them asked me to define woke, and I said that's very easy. It's basically social communism. Define a woman.
They don't reply back for like a few days, and they're just like, okay, he got me.
Yeah, the windows inside their brain is crashed.
Oh god, man. Oh shit. It's just super crazy how now in this world having a different opinion means that people just can't move along with their life. they have to make sure to take away your livelihood. Like,
Mhm.
you know how crazy it is, guys? Someone just like for politics, that's a different playing field. But we're talking
Yeah.
about movies and TV and like animation and that stuff.
You know,
Someone doesn't like your opinion on a movie, that automatically means you must lose the way of making money off your videos. That's ridiculous.
as a child of the 80s and 90s,
Mhm.
you know, I grew up with a lot of different friends from different walks of life, and everyone was different about what they thought about religion, politics, video games, movies, music. Everyone had completely different tastes, and you could talk about it, you could debate those issues, you could agree to disagree, but you know what? You still knew how to get along. Now people don't know how to do that. Now everything is so fractured, so fragmented, that basically people only want to surround themselves with people who have the exact same sort of belief system as they do. And I'm not saying that we're above it. I'm guilty of it too. Like if I see you and you're a freaking psychotic leftist, I probably don't want anything to do with you. I probably do resent you because of the fact that financially, you know, you've made my life into a hardship by voting the way that you did. But you know what? It never used to be that bad. It never used to be that bad. It's only gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And I think a lot of it, you know, stemmed from the election of 2016 and how from that moment forward, the orange man bad thing became this absolute just narrative that has taken over for them. They've had no platform for 8 years other than orange man bad. Everything, it doesn't matter what other issues they believe in, whether it's the climate change issue or you know, any of the other little issues that they're about. All of it somehow always boils back in the end to orange man bad. And it's like, yo, y'all say we have a one-track mind. Like I don't think about Trump until I gotta worry about voting or the election or whatever. I'm too busy paying my bills, doing my groceries, spending time with my girlfriend, playing my video games, and you know, doing what I gotta do, living my life. I don't got the time to sit there and fix it. You know,
That's crazy, man. Going outside and touching grass, getting a girl. They couldn't get a girl.
Which is funny. They tell you to touch grass and they won't do it themselves.
Literally on Twitter all day, 24/7. Just these people got to realize if they want their opinions to be known, you probably should put your opinions out there to be known. These guys are literally getting angry at other people because their opinions hold more weight than their own. And they'll just bitch and moan about them 24/7. It's like, dude, do you have another personality or is he just a crazy weirdo? Motherfuckers are literally like Mark Hamill is a big example. Cannot stop talking about Trump. He actually is just deranged.
I don't understand how somebody like Mark Hamill has had the career Mark Hamill has had, which by the way is what I call a lucky break, because Mark Hamill is not someone who is unique or interesting or special in any way. That could have been anybody. You could have picked my godfather Bob to play Luke Skywalker. He would have been just as rich and just as famous and have nailed it all the same. Mark Hamill is horribly unremarkable as a human being. That being said, he is fortunate. He is fortunate that he got to play Luke Skywalker in one of the most iconic film trilogies of our lifetime. He is you know, very lucky to have had the career he has had to you know, voice the Joker in the Batman animated series and everything he has done. He's made a lot of money. Certainly seen a lot more money than I will ever see in my life. Why are you so fucking miserable, Mark Hamill? Like, you won the game of life and you choose only to operate in a negative, nasty, miserable fashion, which tells me you don't believe, you know, and I'm not trying to get religious here, but he clearly doesn't believe in God because he doesn't believe there's a hell. He doesn't believe he's going to it when he dies. But, you know, he's a nasty, negative, covetous person. Whereas if I had that kind of money, I'd just kick my legs up. I would chill. I wouldn't worry about these issues. You know, not exactly being selfish, but, you know, and he doesn't even have to like Donald Trump. He could say, like, you know what? I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. This is why. The end. He could leave it at that. And you know what? I respect that. I respect that a lot more than getting up there every day, seething in anger, not just at Trump, but anybody. It's not about just Trump. He's angry at everybody who votes for, supports Trump. You got to realize it. It's just like the Michael Jordan saying, conservatives buy sneakers too. Mark Hamill doesn't understand
that. Same thing with Rumble's CEO. He's like, hey, we're just trying to be like Verizon and sell phones.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. A lot of these people are confusing being a good businessman and being a good salesman versus like if you have that politics and I can't buy from you. It's like, dude, we're just trying to sell you a fucking phone. Guys, go to your phone.
Sir, this is the Wendy's.
Yeah, just go to your phone carrier's building, walk in there and be like, hey, yo, I can't buy this phone if this company supports Donald Trump. The fucking service rep is going to be like, sir, would you like to purchase a phone today? Bro.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the thing. When I'm buying something that I need or want, I'm not worried about where your politics are. I'm worried about if this is the best product for me and my current needs.
Yeah,
is it or is it not?
Like,
that's all.
Yeah.
You know
that's what people like. Politics kind of ruin everything. And to be fair, they do kind of do to a certain extent because people will love you your entire life, but find out who you vote for or what politics you have, and they just completely cut you off. Or they just
I've got a lot of family that are vote blue no matter who type people, and they don't like the fact that I don't want to support Kamala Harris. And that's that's my decision, and I'm entitled to my decision. I'm entitled to my decisions. I'm entitled to my opinions. I've done my research. I've made that decision on my own. You don't get to decide for me. I love you as a family member, but as a person, fuck you. That's all there is to it. Like fuck you. Who are you to tell me anything? If you love me all the same, then you love me all the same. If that changes how you feel about me, well, then I guess we're done here. I think that, and by the way, I think that hostility comes more from the left than the right.
Mm-hmm. And the last few things I'll ask you before we have to head out because I get to my other Monday show. It's great having you back here, man. It's always a good time, man. First thing I'll ask you is got anything you're working on for your social media platforms? Got anything planned? What the audience know about?
Tomorrow night, obviously on the platforms we broadcast to. I broadcast to 8 platforms because I'm insane, by the way. I broadcast to BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, Kick, DLive, Twitch, and X. So I'm like the 8.
What is that?
I'm the 8-headed serpent of the internet machine, man. But you know what? Tomorrow night, usually we go live every Thursday night, 11:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's our usual airing time. Mm-hmm. But tomorrow night, I'm gonna have a special. I'm gonna be on there even without John, because John's not able to get off work. But tomorrow night's a debate, so I'm gonna do a debate stream. You'll be able to see my reactions in real time, sort of hear me sort of go off on in real time. But I like to do it. But I know a lot of other content creators do them. I like to sort of do it, my way, because it's like, much love to Crowder, but him and his crew get too drunk and they talk over the entire debate. Love him, but you can't hear the debate. Tim Pool, none but love to him, but again, he's got like 12 people in that fucking room. You can't hear shit of the debate. So I like to listen to it myself, put in my comments where necessary, but give it enough rope for people to hear what's going on at the debate, so they can see me react in real time without sort of stepping on too many toes. I'll be doing that tomorrow night. Might be game streaming later tonight. I sort of game stream when I'm home, when everything's winded down, because I figure if I'm going to play video games, I might as well stream it anyway. I mean, I'm sitting here, might as well, right? Unless I've got like a massive growth on my face, like I'm here usually streaming video games, usually JRPGs, usually older titles. I'm more of a play your backlogs kind of guy, and that's one thing I do want to shout out to everybody listening. Play your backlogs. You don't have to buy that $70 brand new game. Play your backlogs. If you don't like what's going on in the game industry, don't spend money on the modern games industry. I believe it's Grums who said 2 years to shut that shit down. So if you want to see changes, speak with your wallet and don't just open your wallet like it's an ass full of diarrhea. Just conserve your money and you'll see things change.
Oh, the last thing I'll ask you, man, is there anything else going to say? Any shout outs we need to end in particular before we head out?
I just want to thank you for having me here. I always love to come on, and I'm always willing to shoot the shit, talk about anything. Obviously, anytime, man. Yeah. I'm always fired up, and I appreciate everybody out there watching. Make sure that you support Master Swag King. Make sure you come check out Cancel's podcast, and until the next time, y'all be blessed and be based. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and make sure to go outside, and also anyone that wants to get a girl, please shower. That's like the most basic thing. Motherfuckers stink out there. Fucking
there's deodorant, man. Make sure you get that deodorant, man. Deodorize.
Please, what was that all saying? Please wash your ass.
Yeah, and to those of you who may have taken the transition, please flush the maggots out. The maggots smell too.
Oh God. Well, thank you guys for checking out this. Thank you guys for checking out this episode of the Iron Man podcast.